Algebra 2B, Orange class. Today is Thursday, February 23. Okay. All right, write down the formula right now. I think most of us have it. If you weren't here last time, it might be a little bit of catch up, but again, you got to watch the videos in between. So the formula I know was A sub 1. I'm going to write it differently. I'm going to put this A sub 1 so I can have everybody on top divided by the bottom. So A sub 1, inside of that is a 1 minus r to the n. And then I'm going to write this extra parenthesis divided by, I'm writing it the way you would want to be able to type into your calculator, and that back will soon get you one. Divided by the bottom parenthesis, but no n on the bottom.
Oh, there is no n on the bottom?
Just the r on the bottom. So when you're typing that into your calculator, having it this way would kind of ease up how many parentheses you need. When we get to some of the other equations, you will, all right, on this one we put the ARN somewhere, and this is kind of your reminder. The very first problem you're going to see today is going to be quite a bit like this one. The formula, I think I'm going to write it down somewhere for you. Now, some of you kind of have it memorized, but I'll write it down somewhere for you. The A, the R, the N. In this problem, what did we say the A sub 1 was? For those who weren't here, they know that easily because it's the starting point. It's where you begin. It's the first number in line. So 20 grand. The N. What was the N in this problem?
N.052. How is it 4? Oh, the N is 40, but the R was 10.52.
For those who weren't here, the number of years, the amount of time is your N, or the number they're trying to get you up to. Nope. N. You do two easy things first, and that only leaves one last thing for your R. And again, I am going to come around to make sure that everyone can type into the calculator, because even if you can identify these, if you can't get into your calculator right, then the whole thing goes downhill. The R. So again, that R starts off as the percent. We have to turn into a decimal. So that's 5.2. Needs to be turned into a decimal. 1, 2. And for the reason that I won't say, you'll put a 1 in front of that. Take a look, write it down, make sure you have it. Not if you were here last time. If you were here last time, you have that written. And now here's the part that I want us all to do. Put it into a calculator after I write it down. Let's see if I can write it down. Let's see if I can get this thing down here. A1 is at 20 grand. I'm writing it like I have it at the top of the board now. If you weren't here last time, make sure you write this down. 20,000. I had the parenthesis with the 1 minus. The R was a 1.052 raised to the power of 40. I'm writing it down the way I would type it into the calculator. Divide by. In the bottom, we have the 1 minus. That's where I'm going to write it so it looks exactly like the top.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to come around to look in your calculators to see if you have this in, so please type this in. I'm going to pause right now to make it around to you.
My goodness.
The answer was, put mine right here. It's a long answer. On your assessment, just in case all these long numbers you get it off, please write down the work that you did, this part here, that way. That way when I look at it, if something is off, that way I know, okay, well, they must have punched something. 253. I'm going to put a dollar symbol on it, please. That way you know. You're talking about money 253. I don't know where to put my comments yet, but I'll figure it out. 253, 7, 2, 2, 3. I'm going to put 0.36, even though it should really be 0.37. Money should round it. But the 36, 37, either one, I would take it. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, 2 million. Okay. So that's how much money is going to be in that account. Take a look at it, see if you need to write the same thing. Here's another thing they're going to ask you. Here's another thing they're going to ask you to do, but it isn't in this problem, so I'm going to have you mess with your calculator right now. This original 20,000, please write that down. Or let me write down this question rather. What is 40% of, what is 47% of 20,000? Please write down this sentence here.
Okay. What is 47?
Of that original 20,000, you're going to be asked to do something where they give you an original amount, and they're going to say, hey, what is 47% of that? Now, this isn't Algebra 2b second semester. This is old school, multiply the percent times the money. And as long as you change the percent into a decimal. So to get the answer to this question here, all you're going to do is change my 47% into a decimal. And then multiply that times 20 grand.
And that is like 2 hours.
This one I'm going to come around and we're going to check, but it's no big deal. So right now you should be typing, If you can type and talk, but if you can't type and talk, write it down, and then in just a moment I'm going to come around and check. Let's read the problem. Here it comes. I'll have you underline some things. Let's see what we got here. Alex, an administrator, let's see if I can put this here, and makes 36, please circle the 36, 25. Alright, Ron, try to circle that.
Page 61.
What page is this?
It's not 61.
That is 61.
No, it's not on page 61. Oh, okay, never mind. It's just stuff words on my page, I think.
Alright, circle the money amount. You make that much an hour. If you had to write an equation, here's what it would look like. Equal sign. I'm making 36. 125 an hour. Whenever they say something like that, then from there you just put an X after it. That X tells me if I work for 1 hour, 1 times the money amount. Oh, okay, I'm making 36. If I work 2 hours, 2 times that amount. So here's what it looks like. The first thing I need you to do is with your calculator, please go to the y equals. This is from first semester. We're going to try and produce a table. The important thing about the table is going to be this. All of these problems are going to be real world problems, which means the domain, the x's, can't be negative. So when you produce a table for a real world problem, and I'm going to actually do it on the assessment, you will always start the x's at 0, then go 1, 2, 3. You could go on further, but that's enough to get a picture of what should be here. So what is it that Thomas wants you to do right now? 1, go to y equals on your calculator, type in the function. When you type in the function, then I want you to go blue button table. Probably did that a long time ago. And on your paper, you're going to produce a table. And the table is going to be, and let me see if I can squeeze mine in. I probably should do it at the bottom of the page where there's more space. So again, you're just putting in the function as it is.
So where does the...
So here's what you're doing. That's me producing the function for you.
Oh, okay, so what is it?
Type in what you see up there.
Oh, I already did. Okay, but...
Now you're going to produce the table, blue button table. Once you get to the table, that's the part that I'm going to want to see where they're able to get there. Now, I haven't done it, so I don't know what number should be there. The if anyone has gotten there already, raise your hand so I can kind of see what's there. That way, I'm going to check to see what's on there. So it's y equals. You're missing the whole function. When you do the function, make sure you have the letter x there.
Why did you put the y before the x?
Oh yeah, that's a mistake. Good. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. X always comes first. Alright, so I'm checking around. Alright, I see it. Technology is what this one is all about. In other words, you have to get the function, but once you get the function, then your calculator can ultimately decimals is the rest course. See it? Anything in there yet?
I want one just greater on. Is that? Oh, yeah. Why did you tell me? No, look at it.
The 0 with the y,
Okay.
36, 25. What is the 2? Is it 72?
2.5.
Because it's money, I'll put the 50. Hopefully you know the 5. And then the 3 was what?
108.75.
At this point, we're opening computers to go to decimals. Write the following that I'm writing on the board. Right now, I just wrote on the board the hours and the pay. Whisper, back table whisper. Hours and the pay. That way, the main thing they're going to want you to know is, now that the calculator is going to do the work for you, now that the computer is going to do the work for you, do you even know what they're talking about? Do you know that the left side are the hours, and the right side is going to tell you how much money they make? The next one we're going to do is going to ask something different. But for now, once you get those in, all right, open up decimals. Y equals, was it 36.25? Uh-oh. Is that it? What are we going to do with this picture? What table? Do it again? How'd you get to that table, Elsie? What did you do to get to yours? Let me see.
This is his master output. Excuse me, my papers. Okay, I'm done.
But for our purposes, we'll still just use the things. But that's what I need to know. But how do I get back? All right. Here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. Even though the sketch is going to be rough, as best you can, sketch this ugly picture that is in decimals. Now, here's what's true. This ugly picture that's in decimals, it's going to look ugly, but again, because they will all be the same ugly picture, I'll know that the only place they got that from had to be decimals, and they had to type in the same proper formula. So go ahead as best you can and kind of sketch that. Now, what they should have done when they created the picture, they should have made a problem where the sketch would be a little bit more clear. After the sketch, then we'll do one other thing together, and believe it or not, that's what you're going to be required to do for the assessment. So Unit 8 in the past, except for the very first problem, that big equation, the others, they're going to describe a situation. They're going to give you the equation. Your job will be calculator table, and then decimal sketch. And then the last part that we're going to do is going to be finding the x and the y-intercept, which again, if you know where to click, that's going to be easy as well. That's why today I'm going to let you taste Standard 1, the harder one, and then Standard 2, which is going to be what we're looking at now, easier ones. So what is he about to do? He's about to come around, put a check mark. Let's see what we got here. So you just have to do something right now. Yeah. And again, if you need to move it around to kind of see. Their numbers are so crazy by using a 36. Alright, I'm coming around with a check mark. Highlight check mark. Please use decimal to click on the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Now, that's sort of a trick way of me saying it. But click on the x-intercept. The question, well, what is the x-intercept? Where does it hit the x line? And then the question will be for the y-intercept, where does it hit the y line? 0. So in this weird problem, I wish I would have done it the first one where it's separate. Your x-intercept, your y-intercept are going to be written exactly the same, but I want you to write it twice. What does he mean he wants us to write it twice? That is, let me back up to this guy and see. Let me have it at the same time. Maybe if I add a little bit here, you go over there for me. You won't go over there.
Why are you being
no, stay. Alright. So, what is he doing? Step 1, they drew the picture. Look at my sketch. My sketch is good enough. 2, on your graph, please write in the 0, 0, that's the x-intercept, also happens to the y-intercept, and where are you going to write up here? This is the part that's important. I want you to distinctly put x-intercept, y-intercept. I don't want just one answer. And of course for the x-intercept, where it hits the x-axis. And for the y-intercept, same thing. On your table, the x-intercept, or that very first row, the very first row where your table starts with a 0, comma something, that's not only the initial point where things start, but that's also going to be your y-intercept. It happens to be the x-intercept this time, but normally it's just the y-intercept this first row. Here comes a question. What does this first row represent, that y-intercept, the start here? What does this represent?
It means it's where the graph hits the y-axis.
That's true. That's where it hits y-axis. But for the context of the problem, at 0,
it's how many hours?
how much pay?
How much pay, right?
And here's what the deal is. What they're going to ask you sometimes is to describe, well, okay, you got the answer, you punched it in, your little table and blank, and then you get your little graph here. What does this first row represent? It's always the initial amount. In other words, at 0 hours, how much money did he make? 0. He made nothing. Another problem is going to pop the second match, go to a different page. We're going to do the same thing, but in the end, I'm going to ask you, what does this first row represent? So do me a favor, next to this first row, right? At 0 hours, 0 pay, $0. At 0 hours, 0 pay. 0 pay. It doesn't even make any sense, but at least that's kind of what I want to say. So put that down. So at 0 hours, you can put down like at 0 pay.
I got it.
Alright, 0 pay. It doesn't make sense the way we say it, but you get the idea. This line here is going to be the most important one for you to be able to turn into a real-life description, which shows, hey, I know what all the numbers mean. Alright, pause. Take a look at this problem. I'm about to leave it. Anybody want to ask anything on this one? Alright, here it comes. What's the next page I want you to go to? I want you to go to page 22. Page 22. Go to page 22. At the top of page 22, please write down standard 2. Even if someone's saying something on page 22, write down standard 2. Standard 2 will have 2 different prompts. Standard 1 will have that very first one. Yeah. They redo that problem. They redo that problem later on page 67, the same exact problem, but without the picture. So we'll do the picture version first, and then we may have you rewrite it on the non-picture version. All right, let me get to page. All right, we go to page 22.
What's up with you, Jane, man? You just...
That's not debatable.
I mean, no,
Oh, I
is
Why would you ask me that?
Exactly.
hey, proofs like math.
So if you've done so far, what I'm about to come around and check and see, you've read through to just know what they're even talking about.
He's getting paid. Just repeat.
You're circling or highlighting
Wait, why is it teacher?
the equation. Right after you do that,
Oh, wait.
you got to get it into your calculator to get your table.
What? I don't see it.
So do calculator first, because once I come around, what I want to come around and see first are tables. That's the first thing I want to see. Okay, so we got one person already, their table's ready. Before you do decimals, I know some of you are putting into, for the graph. Graph is going to come at the end. Go to calculator and get the table first. That's the thing I want to see first. So I'm going to walk around. Now that we've had the equation put into the computer, into the calculator, they've done their table. I'm going to come around and check mark the table. And again, for table, 0, 1, 2, 3 is enough for me. Because this is a real world problem, a real life problem, usually for our x's, we will always begin with 0. 0 represents what happened initially. At the very beginning, I had $0. At the very beginning on this problem, I'm going to find out what that 0 means for this scenario. And this is why they just give you the formulas and you use technology. Oftentimes, there's a spit down answer, but like, I don't know what that means. They want this unit to be, hey, do you know what the numbers mean? So let me get my table on the board now. I'm going to check mark your tables, and then we'll see. Now, what's true, these two problems represent what you need to do for standard 2 today. To get up to a 3, I'm not doing 4s. And with the number of equations we have on this test, that'll be fine for me. So let's see, table. Their table, they have X, they have Y. So again, you're on the right track. 2, 3. I don't know what the other numbers are. I'll get those in a moment. I'm coming around to check.
Oh, never mind.
For these real world problems, back rows, for these real world problems, the negative element of things doesn't exist. Yes, it's a parabola just because it's raised to the second power. What you have to know is, on this graph, where would I put 0 for my x's? Wherever you choose, and normally they kind of have it delineated.
Oh.
For my x-axis,
Yeah, I restarted.
that's where I would put 0. Once you have that, then you can decide what the picture should look like.
What's the 0, 0?
It's going to start,
Well, okay, I started up here.
by the way, what was the 0? What's the part of 0?
Another one?
Yeah.
So I should.
Was it 168?
That's not right.
Also, you said X. And it's not funny.
What was the 1?
Yeah, 155.
2?
That's so weird how I was.
And then I make an add this difference there.
All over here, and then 3 here is 155. It's fake.
So here's the deal. For your picture, the key with decimals will be to mark, and I know I didn't say this ahead, mark your y-intercept and your x-intercept. And what that will do for your picture sketching, I know that the y-intercept, this important piece right here, will always be available on your table. But for your y-intercept, it won't be on your table. You'll have to use decimals to click on it. Now, for our purposes, someone tell me what the y-intercept would be. I'm sorry, the x-intercept. 7.5.
And then
Okay,
positive stuff.
Richard with the answers.
Oh, no, just no negatives, just the positives. Because again,
We're not doing negatives.
right, because again, this real life problem, how does he, how do you back up? Well, first, the T represents time. How do you go into negative time? This doesn't make any sense. So let me sketch it, and let's say what it means. Can you go up and do my picture for sketching? I'll put him up here. And where's he going to land? I'm going to put him down here. Now, how can I just do that and write the sketch?
Y'all be quiet for like 2 minutes, please. I'm focusing.
0, 1, 6,
Oh my
8,
gosh.
7, 5, and the bottom one was a 7.5? 7.5. 7.5. Take a look at my picture. Your picture might be slightly different. What's important about the picture is two things. One, you never go back into the negative zone. In these real world problems, you always start where x is 0. You move forward to the right until you get to whatever the y-intercept or the x-intercept will be. Yeah. So mine, I just sketched it because again, those little boxes, and then they have decimals. If they wanted like a real accurate sketch, they would have made this just a 5, a 6, or 7, and just a regular number. So if they ever give small numbers that you can actually put it where it goes, then go ahead and really do that. Otherwise, draw a sketch. I can tell. Also write in your coordinates. If you write those in, I know certain things. 1, I know they got off a decimal. 2, I know they know where to find the y-intercept and the x. Did I finish my problem? If I haven't written down my x-intercept down here and my y-intercept, I have not finished.
This is quite like that's you? Actually, you kind of have the same face. It's just like oh god.
We can. That's the
16-year-old guy.
that's the version. How it's gonna look like on the assessment.
Wear dresses.
That's gonna that 61 is how it's gonna look on the assessment. It won't be a picture.
Wait for Ashley. Enjoy this.
Here comes the most important question. The most important question is going to be, what does that y-intercept actually represent?
That's the height. Oh, wait. That's where it drops. Right? That's where he dropped it first.
That's the height, exactly where he was when he dropped it. So here again, please put time above the x, which used to be a t. Uh-oh. Time, just like I wrote on the board, above the x, write time, and above the y, write down height. Write those down, and that way, again, the x-intercept, someone might be able to say, what does the x-intercept represent?
Where it falls.
Where it falls, but it's the time. It's the time when it hits the ground. Write that down, write that down. So maybe I should put height. I'm going to put height under that ground. Let me do that. I'm going to erase it for a second and write height. And I'm still going to put that ground. How long did it take for it to hit the ground? 7.1. These are the main two that I'm going to look at and find out if we have questions on. Alright, so here we go. Shh. You're about to get your assessment in just a moment.
Oh, really?
The date of
Uh-huh.
my graduation party, you couldn't have.
So hold for just a moment, so that I get it. Some people, so those who are talking, the main thing that you're going to need in just a moment, I'm going to let you review in a second, will be 1, put in formula, 2, get table, 3, graph on decimals, identify the x and y intercepts. And then the last thing, this part may be an extra. Try to identify, well, what does this y-intercept represent? Is it how high you were? Is it how much money you made? Try to identify what it was. So here, put original height or initial height. Let's review. And probably in about 2-3 minutes, we'll offer you the assessment. Standard 1 is the one you're going to need to review the most. You're going to need that formula. Initial height.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do love your house.
No, when I gotta go like sweat.